and we can start. All right, so witam towarzyszy, to jest Polinkash, and today we're doing another episode of Prolematic podcast. We've got some good topics to talk about here. The first thing, which is something that happened a little bit ago, that we haven't had the opportunity to really take a deep dive in, is the bank runs, particularly SVB and Signature banks collapsing. There have also been some bankruptcies that have followed from this. Bed Bath and Beyond filed for bankruptcy, and I think there was a couple other major ones. And in the midst of all this, the Writers Guild has gone on its first strike in like 20 years. But I think it's important that we as communists understand the particularities of the financial collapse and what happened with the banks. F word. I think you got a good. I think you have a good analysis of it. So if you want to talk about it a little bit, you want to talk about what happened with the banks.
It's a bank collapse. Yeah, banks are collapsing. Yeah,
Yeah, but
too much. There's too much no value without actual like real assets that are being that are propping up the American economy, and it's caving in on itself. It's a beautiful thing. Financial capital is merging and monopolizing as well. We're literally at the moment in which the monopoly form. I mean, banking finance capital is already kind of like a monopoly form, but it's even more grossly extending itself into sheer how would you say, just oligarchical sort of setup, right? You know, like what is it? J.P. Morgan bought out. Was it J.P. Morgan saved First Republic Bank? You know, like they just consumed it all. You know, so yeah.
You know, in the past we've expressed sort of like disappointment with where the labor movement is at right now, and I think it's correct to have feelings of disappointment with the situation. But simultaneously, I think that we should recognize the amount of labor action that's going down right now, even if it's not really all that effective. I think that it does signal the beginning of a rejuvenated labor movement, the beginning of a build back of a building back up of the powers of the working class. But I mean, as we said before, like it's probably going to get significantly worse before we really see any kind of effective collective action.
What people are talking about is just the fact that Trump dominated on CNN, and that's what overshadows everything.
That's true.
All other things is the fact that he was put on TV. They try to. It's almost like it's kind of funny because it is like the media is just trying to do the same thing, the same like strategy from 2016 on him to see if it works this time. But I think just people are so at this point like basically inoculated from that it was just a fiasco that made Trump look like a fucking G.
Yeah,
it doesn't even seem relevant because it's like I don't think people really care what happens to Trump anymore because he's not in office anymore.
It'll be overshadowed at some point if the Republicans push for the prosecution of Hunter Biden, which seems like a harder case, honestly, than Trump's case.
Yeah, but the thing about that is fucking Matt Gaetz has the laptop, and like the Republicans have the laptop, and they haven't said anything. Like they haven't they announced they have the laptop, and then that was it. You know, like they haven't mentioned anything about what's on that computer since Matt Gaetz announced that he had the computer, right?
I don't know, maybe
over and all that shit like that. I think we know what's on the computer. We're seeing this dude get fucking foot jobs in China and shit like that.
Yeah, right. But the thing,
maybe
what
this would
go ahead.
Like I don't know, maybe this is because like Trump said that he would run like next year. So maybe this is in preparation for that. I mean, it's still fucking stupid because it didn't work the first time. It's not going to work this time unless, like, I don't know, the fact that Trump won, like, once, like, I don't know, it was not exactly a fluke, but it was kind of a weird situation because I think it was a combination of the fact that like the Democratic candidate was particularly bad, like Hillary Clinton, although I mean Biden is equally fucking terrible. Like the Democrats just have a terrible candidate, which like I think helped Trump somewhat. Also, Trump seemed like maybe like some people could have voted for him like kind of as a protest vote because he seemed like he would be an outsider, not like a quote unquote establishment guy. And also the fact that he didn't even win the popular vote. So like, would he even win like next time? Probably not. His victory to me like people didn't expect Trump to win like the first time, but I don't know. Like maybe they're trying to do this to sabotage his upcoming campaign, but I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is like so like CNN is actively like trying to steal like Fox News viewers because Fox News just had some pretty damning suits that have gotten them a very poor reputation. They got rid of Tucker Carlson. Fox News viewership is dropping at an alarming rate. And CNN is the direct competitor of Fox News, and they want to take the opportunity to grab Fox News viewers. So there is among the essentially the top leaders of CNN, they're essentially discussing a shift further to the right as a network to grab some of the more moderate conservative viewers of Fox News. And so, frankly, I think they knowingly put Trump on. I mean, look, the person that they had interview him, or sorry, like moderate like the town hall, like they literally only put her there because she is one, an attractive woman, and two, because she's already like like essentially based on like her previous work, she's a moderate like conservative, right? Who works on CNN, and so they pretty much set everything up. And you know, with even with the audience, they put a bunch of Republicans in the audience. They set
like
him up.
they're like trying to get a Megyn Kelly thing to happen, you know, like it was kind of ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they set him up to fucking to win that whole ordeal. You know, they really did. I think they probably even consciously did it, and that's
I
the
don't
thing.
think. Yeah, I mean, the fact that the whole town hall was just a bunch of Republicans was kind of like, what the fuck was that? But listen, here's the thing. Uh, I'm not even. First of all, one, it's in regards to cable news. I have not watched cable news in maybe like 2 years. I just haven't watched it. You know, like you just haven't. Well, there's no reason. I've had no reason to watch that shit. It's not relevant. It's not important. You can get my news anywhere else. Most people get their news from just social media feeds at this point. The only
Yeah.
time you ever really watch, the only time you ever really watch cable news is if you're at an old person's house and they are like just watching it, and then even then they're hardly any watching it. It's just in the background. So there's that. There's one. Two, they're trying to repeat the formula from 2016 because they're precisely because their ratings are doing poorly. Like CNN is like doing horribly from what I understand.
Yeah,
Fox
I mean,
News,
all cable is.
yeah, it's Fox News is now doing like poorly now too, even though it was doing well. They got rid of Tucker Carlson, all that bullshit.
And also
I
like
don't
the defamation suit, you know. I mean,
imagine that people that watch MSNBC are in a cult that is run by Sam Cedar. There's no other. There's no. There's no getting out from that for them.
yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. I mean, there's all that. Look. Trump is going to win. I know. I don't know, like to what extent. What, but I have a gut feeling. It's just like the economy is doing poorly. People hate what's going on. People look at their president and they feel sorry for him. They feel like, you know, they don't hate him. They don't hate him like Hillary Clinton. They just
Well,
feel
a lot of
sorry.
them do hate him. A
They
lot
do.
of them.
I mean,
I mean, they didn't put stickers of Hillary Clinton on every gas pump. You know what I mean?
well, that's funny, you know. But at the same time, they don't know. Like there was a visceral hate against Hillary Clinton, or because she was female, because she was a piece of shit, you know, because she
Yeah.
was like more actively sort of like just like there's a visceral sort of like behind the scenes sort of politics with her, right?
Terrible campaigning too, just terrible campaigning. She was so fucking cringe.
Joe Biden won in a landslide, more or less, because of COVID and because of the hate that was just surrounding Trump at the time. But that's going to change very quickly. Joe Biden is just like, his brain is gone. The man, I don't know to what extent his brain is gone. It just, every time I see him, it doesn't look good anymore.
I mean, look, he's always been an idiot, right? And as he gets older, his intelligence really declines.
He had a good year and a half of like sort of clarity in the office.
Adderall.
Yeah, he had a good year and a half of clarity in his brain in the office, and things were seeming okay. But it just seems like the wheels have come off the fucking car at this point for him in his mental ability. And yeah, things just don't look good. I mean, Ron DeSantis ain't taking down Trump either. That man's a cornball. Meatball Ron. I think it fits.
Yeah, it does fit. But I think Trump is going to stop using Meatball Ron because he doesn't want to alienate his Italian support base. So he's been really struggling to find a good nickname for DeSantis. He first tried saying DeSanctimonious, but that was a little too high level education for his general support base. So then he tried to simplify with Meatball Ron. But again, he doesn't want to alienate his Italian supporters, so he's gonna have to keep looking. He's gonna have to keep looking. I don't expect him to continue using that into his campaign.
Un-Italian I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, for real.
Italians, like from fucking what is it, Christie in New Jersey, Giuliani in fucking New York. This dude is. Yeah, this dude is like what the fuck? Like he's just like a cornball. It's like, man, something happens.
Yeah, no, he's really.
Why is Florida such a fucking crazy state? Like, you know what I mean? Like the people there are crazy, but their Republican governors are always like these cornball, low energy figures. You know, I never got that.
Well, Florida, for some ungodly reason, is just completely insane. And I mean, like what DeSantis is doing in Florida right now, literally like just banning books. That's really like, I mean, obviously.
That's all like the culture war bullshit. I'm just saying him as a person though is like this dude looks like he enjoys he enjoys the simpler things in life because he is simple. You know what I mean? Like
if you had like the Virgin and the Chad meme, like if you could easily do like Virgin DeSantis and Chad Trump, like that would just fit perfectly.
I mean, that already fits.
That fits perfectly already. You don't even have like DeSantis is already like he already like I don't know how tall he is, but he already looks like this like fucking small like weak guy. Like you said, he is a complete fucking cornball. He's no chance against Trump. No chance. I don't care how much Moms for Liberty promote DeSantis. He's just not gonna. He's not gonna do it. The anti-Trump faction within the Republican Party had a good run under Biden's administration, but now as the election is approaching, they're really starting to lose their footing. And a lot of the moderate Republicans are changing sides now because they see that DeSantis just has no fucking chance whatsoever. So yeah, no, I mean, also like a lot of the lesser known. There's been a lot of hilarious stories surrounding like the lesser known like pro-Trump people. George Santos was just as in a criminal suit right now for what's the word? Abusing campaign finance money.
It's not beyond that. It's just like complete like banking fraud. Like it's just like he's got there's a whole list.
No, literally what it seems like, right, is George Santos ran for Congress as a get rich quick scheme. Like literally, I don't think he was actually expecting to win. He just wanted to collect campaign donations.
I called this out from the beginning when we found out that he was lying about shit. It was like, oh, he's doing the plot from the producers in politics. And he fucked up, just like in the producers where the Springtime for Hitler becomes huge, it actually becomes a runaway success. They didn't think it was going to happen. And that's what happened to him, basically. He didn't realize that being a Trump-loving gay dude would really work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and he really is kind of just like a reflection of DeSantis in a way, in just the sense that he's a complete fucking cornball himself. Um, but then but then you have like
Honestly, cool. He's actually no. I disagree with that. He's not a cornball. He. This is a scam artist.
he's a hustler. he's a hustler.
Yes, man.
He's a
Fucking
G.
full scam artist.
He's on that
Yeah.
hustle.
I mean, he what he has done is impressive, right? The only thing he popped up in was winning the race.
Yeah,
You know?
but that's the thing though, is like his success is not like really on him. Like, I mean,
No,
I
he
guess,
was he was a complete tool. Let's
yeah, he's
let's
a complete
that.
tool, like, and his success was not really on him. Obviously, like the failure was his fault in the sense that like he actually won and underestimated the stupidity of the Republican base. But like that's my point, is like his success is not really his own. It's just like the like just the sheer fucking like the stupidity in the people that voted for him.
Well, no, I would disagree, right? Like, at the end of the day, he ran. It's not just the stupidity of people that voted for him; it's the stupidity of people who ran against him too. No one caught on to this shit until after he was elected. You know,
Well, that is true.
he lied about everything. You know, then all of a sudden they found out. You know, I think he should just keep in office. For the sheer audacity of the lie, they should just keep him in office. You know.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then there's this hilarious interview recently with what's his name, the Senator Doug Jones, Senator Tuberville was doing an interview, and I'll just play the clip. It's hilarious.
We are losing in the military so fast, our readiness in terms of recruitment. And why? I can tell you why. Because the Democrats are attacking our military, saying we need to get out the white extremists, the white nationalists, people that don't believe in our agenda as his Joe Biden agenda. They're destroying it.
You mentioned the Biden administration trying to prevent white nationalists from being in the military. Do you believe they should allow white nationalists in the military?
Well, they call them that. I call them Americans.
Oh, America.
I mean, he's not wrong, right? Like, to a certain extent, right? Like, if you get rid of the nationalists from the military, they're not going to have too many people left, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's true, but also it's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have white nationalists in the military.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever, right? We should be no military to begin with, but like, the point is that I think what he's saying is kind of justified, right? You look at Ukraine, who are their best frontline soldiers? Some Nazis. You look at Russia, who are their best frontline soldiers? Some Nazis. It just seems to me, if you're a majority white country, right, and you have an army, your armed forces are more likely going to have a bunch of Nazis in it that are probably your best dudes. I mean, who else wants to go around fucking murdering people of color besides like fucking Nazis, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, I mean, if you want to look at the situation like cynically, then yeah, of course. But obviously, like as Marxists, we should oppose white nationalists in the military.
We should get rid of white nationalists from the military, and we should introduce disabled genderqueer people in full on the battle lines, right in Taliban country, you know, like get them in there. Let's do this. You know,
I agree.
I mean,
I support this.
You see what I'm saying here? It's like, I don't even think we should oppose or support or whatever, you know, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it's just the context in which this military exists in. You know, it's an imperialist military, you know.
For sure, but like, say in like the context of like a civil conflict, you know, like if there are so many fascists in the military, what chance does the left have in actually like succeeding in a civil conflict? You know, so naturally, I think that
Not very fucking well.
Fighting no matter what.
What?
They're gonna be fighting and getting guns no matter what.
Right, but at least like if they're removed from the military, we can replace them with at least moderate, maybe more leftist agents. You know.
disabled, genderqueer bodies.
I mean, look, even if they're like liberal, you know, like that's still like, you know, like imagine like just a left leaning liberal who's like an officer, like actually participating in like the massacring of people. You know, like I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying generally.
I just think it's like when you start, like, I mean, look, yeah, I guess in terms of like a pox on their house, yeah, sure, it'll support what Joe Biden is doing, I guess, right? But simultaneously, it's like, yeah, I mean, you start whittling down the reactionaries in a volunteer army of an imperialist character. They won't have much left, you know, like this, like there are gangs. There are gangs in the fucking military, you know. Besides
Yeah.
white nationalists, there are fucking gangs in the military as well. You know, like there
Yeah.
are plenty of fucking pieces of shit, you know, in all branches of the state, you know, that are corrupt, criminal, violent, ideological in character. They're everywhere, you know. Like
Of course.
like I think we shouldn't be under the illusion, you know. Like I think Joe Biden thinks that there's going to be some flag saluting, like you know, infantrymen, flag saluting infantrymen schooled on their Thomas Paine. Like I mean, I don't think but that shit is not reality. You know, it's bullshit.
No, I mean, of course, but nonetheless, like it's just funny because now, like considering the events of January 6th, and like obviously since then, the Republicans have had to deal with the question of white nationalists, particularly the Trumpists, and like as we're approaching the next election. The way that the Trump Republicans are responding to like the accusations of like white nationalist support and all of this shit. It's just funny to see, you know, like it's just it's entertaining having seen them deal with that.
They're doing a purge of the military to avoid a worse coup than prior.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, then that does beg the question, like, if all these I mean, fascist-minded people are cut from the military, then obviously there's going to be a concentration of right-wing reactionary, I guess people, you know, armed, trained people. You know, where are they going to go?
Right.
Right?
I mean,
Like, where the fuck
they're
they
gonna start
go? They're
militias
gonna-
and shit. But
Right.
but the thing is that like
They're putting chokeholds on homeless people in trains all day.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, like they're gonna end up in the subways defending the.
I mean, the best case scenario is like those guys just become like the homeless fucking like the vet shit, you know? It's like
Yeah.
completely harmless.
Yeah, I think that if that happens, they're just literally gonna just form militias at that point because they're gonna have to find ways to sustain themselves like as like a sub faction of like ex military, you know.
They're just gonna become cops. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Well, that's true too. Yeah, they'll just become cops. But anyway, but like that would actually be good, you know, like that actually would be a good thing because like the cops and when what we saw in BLM, right, the National Guard was not completely on the side of the cops. In many instances, the National Guard was actually like you know, rank and file people in the National Guard were actually like disgusted by the cops. And so like if the white nationalists are kicked out of the military and join the cops instead, that would actually be good in the sense that it would create a clearer line of demarcation between forces, right? And there have been plenty of times in history where the army has come into conflict with the police force, you know. So like I feel like that would actually be that if that were to occur, that would actually be advantageous for the American left.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, right? Like, I mean, if we get them out of the military and that sort of stuff. But I think this is the whole point anyway, is that, I mean, it's going to be the National Guard. The National Guard is like its own, if you have any in some sort of like, oh, I won't shoot my brother sort of thing, it'll be the National Guard. It's not going to be the fucking Marine Corps, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
no, yeah.
The
I mean, you're right about that.
mercenaries.
Yeah, no, you're right about that for sure.
yeah, it's going to be like, it'll be the lower elements, the ones that are ironically that are constitutionally allowed to deal with domestic situations. Like so, at the
Yeah.
point in which it becomes the Marine Corps or any other fucking shit like that, they're really in a bad situation.
Yeah. But anyways,
hiring back those guys. They'll be like, "Hey, come back, come in."
yeah, that could happen too, for sure.
Azov Battalion USA.
Yeah, as a battalion USA.
Fuck, that would be the worst case scenario.
Or I mean, maybe like also a lot of the white nationalists could just like end up on like the cargo ships, because like all the cargo ships now have like ex-military like private security forces. So like this should be the plan. Take all the white nationalists from the Army and the Marines and the Navy. Actually, no, you can keep them in the Navy because like the Navy is the Navy. But take them out of the Army and the Marines and just put them on boats. Just put them on the cargo ships. Let them defend the ships against pirates and shit. And that way they'll be far away from here. I feel like that's a good deal.
Navy's the least white institution of the three military branches.
Damn, but I thought maybe I'm not gonna make that joke actually.
Bro.
It's all I guess it's also the most queer friendly historic.
Oh yeah, well I mean we've all heard about the Navy stories, the stories of the Navy orgies.
I mean, they are seamen.
They are seamen. That's right. They are seamen. But anyway, so the Restrict Act. I don't know how much you guys have heard about the Restrict Act. This was proposed back.
What is the Restrict Act?
I'm actually already fighting it with the Unleash Act.
The Restrict Act was proposed back on March 7th. And essentially, the Restrict stands for Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats That Risk Information and Communications Technology Act. And essentially, what this act is going to do is it will allow the Department of Commerce or the Secretary of Commerce to investigate any and all transactions between U.S. Companies and consumers and quote unquote foreign adversaries. There are a lot of implications to this. I think obviously much of this bill was driven by this sudden upheaval among the Republicans to ban TikTok, right? A lot of people, I don't use TikTok, but a lot of people do. A lot of people really like TikTok. And you hear the Democrats make arguments like, oh, there's a lot of people on TikTok that rely on it to support their small business. I don't give a shit about that. Fuck the small business TikTok users that sell I don't know, fucking frankincense candles. It's like I don't give a shit about that.
Frankenstein candles.
Frankenstein candles, yeah. No, there's just all this like niche, like artisan, like TikTok shit. But then there's also like all these like drop shipping and all that shit on TikTok. So when the Democrats make that argument of like, dude, this bill,
drugs now.
this bill is gonna take away all these small business people's jobs away. I was like, I really don't care. Fuck them. But what does matter to me.
No girls dancing anymore. That's so fucking ironic that they're defending TikTok, actually, though, considering all their like Russia disinformation, fucking Russia, like all that. And now it's like the Republicans are going after TikTok. Now it's like, oh, don't do that. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's because
flipping you, Jesus.
Yeah, well, that's because the Republicans are trying to steer the warmongering towards China.
Yeah, but why fucking like you know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose of even like giving it any sort of energy? Just allow them to allow the I mean, right? Like, it's just weird. It's just fucking weird because like what? Just let the Republicans spend their energy on that shit. Vote no. Just vote no when it comes up to vote. Why even like bother to fight about it? You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you why. The reason why is because first of all, the debt ceiling is coming up, and they're not gonna do.
Don't ask for my money.
The debt ceiling negotiations are coming up, and the Democrats
they just came through.
The debt what? Oh, sorry, yeah, the negotiation, but
they fell through. They fell through. Nothing was accomplished.
Yes, the negotiations fell through. But I'm saying that the deadline is in June, right, for the debt ceiling negotiations, and the Democrats have flopped. They could use the 14th Amendment to just bypass this debt ceiling bullshit, there would be no judicial, reaction to that because it's completely constitutional. But for some reason, and I mean, let's be honest, we know the reason. It's because they're co-opted by the credit and financial institutions. But they are not going to do shit about the debt ceiling, and the debt ceiling is going to cause global economic collapse. And so the Democrats have to, make, save face by doing this other bullshit, like protecting TikTok, to appeal to young voters.
That is
And
so fucking like, who fucking cares about some Zoomers like just like doing their fucking dance? Oh God, like
well,
this is
let's be real here.
to everything is reduced to this fucking like sort of spectacle fucking shit when it's like we're fucking like choking on like prices right now. Oh, I'm just so fed up with it. I don't care. I don't give a shit if AOC fucking wants to say fucking TikTok. It does not matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, honestly,
I don't.
less more digital heroin.
Honestly,
To
I
be
hope the
honest.
Republicans get rid of TikTok. I hope they ban it. That's what I hope.
Frankly, like I'm on the same page with you there. I don't use TikTok, and I don't really give a shit about TikTok. But there are of course other implications beyond TikTok. A lot of, like, for example, this act could ban all VPN services as well, potentially.
Good.
Huh?
Good. Let's make it miserable. Let's just get to the point of like the most oppressive institutionalization of liberal democracy. Let's just bring illiberal capitalism to the United States. Come on. Let's do it, boys.
Well,
I mean, like,
I share your
fuck, I mean-
sentiment. I share your
I mean,
sentiment.
fuck. Like at this point, it's just like they're not moving. They're not budging. There's no budget. There's no given. There's no ground being given. Like nobody's doing shit. It's like fuck me, dude. Like
No,
what's gonna
I mean,
take?
it's like Freddie said, it's all spectacle. I mean, obviously, the TikTok thing does matter to young voters. Like the Democrats pushing the TikTok issue, that could get them a sizable portion of the young voters who use TikTok all the time.
Everyone
But
should have an augmented headset drilled into their fucking skull, provided by Facebook. Like that's the world I want to live in. Is that you cannot look through your own eyes without paying rent to some sort of media fucking institution that is like controlled by the CIA. All right, that's what I want.
yeah, well, yeah.
I want anything in the world. I can't imagine. Like I can't imagine like how much better the dystopian future is going to be. I just want to see it in my lifetime. I just hope that it happens in my lifetime.
I definitely feel where you're coming from. Obviously, like, I think as communists, like, it is our duty to, like, fight for the people in all cases. Obviously, when it comes to, huh?
No, I want dystopia. Why am I going to fight? I want it to happen now.
Well,
Later,
no, because
Cyberpunk 20 whatever.
Cyberpunk 24, baby.
I want a true Blade Runner situation to appear in the USA.
That'd be sick.
And it just let's like we just Joe Biden will never die as well, and we just change the Constitution to elect just a sort of like Joe Biden like sleeping in a mausoleum, just like
if we do get Blade Runner dystopia, like can I
from being pumped with plasma from Zoomers and like and semen from into his balls, like just something like.
Yeah, I think that we should abolish the term limits and just let Joe Biden continue to be president for an unlimited amount of terms.
In perpetuity, as long as he could just drink the blood of like babies, just have him keep
just resurrect, get the other Epstein to set something up for him.
Get the real Epstein that's still alive.
Yeah, the one that's still alive, the one that lives with Tupac in Argentina.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was Serbia.
Yeah, well, either one, the same one where the same one where Adolf Hitler is too. But they're all in the same house together.
him and Andrew Tate just rocking it, and right now.
Yeah, no. How about we just like, yeah, no. I mean, nonetheless, like, but to continue what I was saying earlier, like, as much as we can hope for things to get worse,
God
so
damn.
that as much as we can hope for things to get worse, so that like people can become more conscious of their immiseration, like ultimately that consciousness will be meaningless if like there isn't already some kind of like even small organized base that's doing the fighting. If we don't start organizing and fighting now, we're gonna have a much harder time later on. It's good to build a base of revolutionary workers, even if it's infinitesimally small. We at least need to get something going now, and that requires us to fight for people's rights and fight for the protection of the proletariat. Obviously, the TikTok issue, I don't give a shit. Ban TikTok. That might even be for the best.
AI is gonna fucking do it all anyway. What's the difference, bro? What's the difference?
Well, I think the Writers Guild might actually have some success in that realm.
What are they gonna do? Stop the AI from writing the shows? It's gonna keep on happening.
Well, they can set a legal precedent against that, which is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, sure.
Damn, is that actually what it's about? Like AI is writing shows and they're
So this is what the writers. So both Writers Guild East and Writers Guild West are on strike right now. They have been, I think, for a couple weeks.
Hollywood's on lockdown.
Hollywood's on lockdown, and in essence, what the strike started because of the problem of the way that they get paid. So whenever they release shows, and this is particularly among TV shows, right? Whenever they release episodes of shows on cable, the what the writers essentially get is like a big payment for the first showing, and then every time they show the video, they get a smaller and smaller payment. Right? Sorry, the episode, they get a smaller and smaller payment. Now, when it comes to streaming services like Netflix or Hulu, they don't get paid that way, and they essentially just get like a one big payment, and like essentially they just they don't get paid for like they don't get paid a certain small amount for like every viewership of the episode on Netflix or Hulu. There's not really a lot of like precedent set up around how writers should be paid for shows on streaming services, even movies. So that's what started it, was the wage problem. But what they included in the contract.
Stop for a moment. It's called a residual, right? Like basically what you get paid in terms of like commercial TV, right? Is that it appears on TV, it appears on TV, right? So you get paid for the appearance on on television, because when it appears on TV, right? The thing with streaming services, like every click on streaming service, it's like, first of all, Netflix, Hulu, all that shit, they keep all that shit secret. They don't fucking tell anybody. There's no open way of understanding like ratings on fucking those systems. So you don't have any way of accessing that information.
Right.
So it becomes very difficult for these, like, for anybody, whether it's writers, actors, whomever, right, to demand residual payment on that basis, because like, well, what access to the information do you have?
Right. Yes. And so that was what the Writers Guild was like. Why they originally decided to start negotiations for essentially, well, threaten to strike in negotiations for the new upcoming contract. And then like the unions included, just kind of as like a side thing, like a not really immediate question in the contracts, that writers are people. Writers are creative subjects, and the work that's done by writers cannot be replaced by AI. And when they proposed that contract to the companies, they fought the hardest. The hardest thing they fought was not even the wages, but the AI part. And at that point, the writers realized that the companies are already thinking about doing that, and they're already developing ways to do that to replace the writers, right? And so they're going on strike. And in the now that's one of the big things that the writers are fighting for, is the protection of their jobs from AI. And so, I hope they succeed. I really do. Because while I do in a cynical way hope for things to get worse, but simultaneously, working class victories like this do have an effect. They do have a lasting effect. And ultimately it provides the basis for contemporary proletarian struggle. So we need to support these things. We need to involve ourselves in these things. There's nothing more important in the U.S. Left, or sorry, there should be nothing more important to the U.S. left right now than the labor movement, and that's just a fact. That's just a simple fact.
Yeah, I just think that it's so absurd how like I guess American shows are just so bad that they're not even written by a human being.
Yeah, no, it's literally just like, and that's the thing about AI, right? It's like an AI cannot be creative because an
Yeah, it's
AI
like
is literally
you just
just
have like yeah, it's like you have like a dart board with a bunch of like tropes, and then you just like throw darts and see like which combinations of plot element comes up.
The
right.
fucking Family Guy method.
But the thing is like it doesn't matter, and I guarantee you that even if every single fucking show on Netflix was written by an AI, tons of people will still watch it because they see in the movie industry all of these just like fucking like stupid, just brainless fucking action movies. Marvel, like sure, Marvel movies are well produced, but like, are they really substantive, like intellectually? Like, can we really call them good pieces of culture? Like it is just kind of consumerist cinema. And so those types of films, and like let's not even get into like where like children's TV shows are going right now, because if you've looked at like Netflix for kids and like the kinds of like shit that they're producing for them now, it is like so far below the shit that was made for me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know.
Like the quality is really fucking dropped like excessively. There's not like like shows like SpongeBob, like you could watch that with an adult, and the adult, it's a fucking cartoon for kids, but the adult, like there are some things in there for the adults, or even like Avatar: Last Airbender, bless its soul. It's got it's a very like substantive show for children. They don't do that shit anymore. And so because of like this brainless media that is just so successful, especially on streaming services, it's just like they don't even fucking care about good writing. They really don't care because they know they're going to make shitloads of money anyway.
Yeah, how long did you spend in the Netflix or the YouTube Kids fucking TV shows?
There's been
I
a
watched
few
them.
there have been a few instances where I've accidentally clicked on a Netflix for kids, and then I just like see the previews for like the different shows
I
out of
watched
curiosity.
Cocomelon.
I love you. Yeah, but I love Coco Melon. um, but yeah,
You're a big
bro,
fan of
so
Cocomelon?
I am a very big fan of Coco Melon. I love it.
Fuck yeah, bro.
It's the best. It's the best show that's ever come out, honestly. But yeah, so and I think what's interesting too about the Restrict Act is like they've pretty much announced like who their enemies are. They literally said that this act classifies China, including Hong Kong and Macau, Cuba, Iran, Russia, and Venezuela as foreign adversaries. So they're just like straight up announcing like if you do any suspicious deals with any of these countries, you can be put in fucking jail for 20 years. And it's just like and like I think that's the fact that it lists China first too, it just really like demonstrates more like how hard they're trying to warmonger against China, and like TikTok is like their best avenue towards like doing this pseudo Red Scare. So yeah, I mean, the state of American politics are obviously very fucking trash. We have states all over the country. We got
It's just simultaneously just like brain rot.
Yeah, we got states all over the country banning abortion, banning transgender healthcare, just really like banning drag shows. I mean, Florida is really the worst in this case because they are like so, and that's like not to point out like the hypocrisy that everybody knows, but so much for fucking limited government, yeah, we need small government, but also we're gonna ban books from the public education system, and we're going to literally moderate every piece of media that your children are exposed to, every piece of material, and we're also not going to let children be exposed to drag queens, and also children can't talk about being gay. It's like Jesus, yeah, small government, my fucking ass.
Yeah, I mean they've always been like that when it comes to like separation of church and state and like
Yeah,
yeah, and it's always been like that.
but anyway,
Yeah.
so
Hate
Not
to
to
make
even mention like promoting all the wars and shit. Like that's limited government, small government, but always like, oh, we need to have a small government because the government is tyrannical and like giving people healthcare, that's fucking tyranny. But like we have to support the
Bro, that's
troops and
fucking.
like give more money to the police.
I can't wait to give my kids puberty blockers. That's gonna be so amazing when I'm a father.
yeah, so true.
The Republicans never give them out right away to chemically induce permanent well, not permanent, but we temporarily delay the coming of puberty for my child. I just hope that they never get rid of my right to that.
What the fuck? Wait. He just never becomes a kid, or wait, does he enhance the?
Isn't
Wait,
that,
well, okay. If I'm reading this right, it's like you don't want him like the puberty enhancer will just like well, he won't just be a he'll just be a child for the rest of his life.
Continuously do puberty blockers and never become an adult. Is that Peter Pan fantasy like realizable?
yeah, that
So
would be pretty.
basically,
That'd be pretty
yeah.
badass. Just get on some like get on a green tunic, and just fucking bow and arrow. I mean,
To be King Herman for your rest of your life.
Yeah, you buy a crocodile and feed him what is an alarm clock.
God damn.
Anyway, so the next topic we got, so France, or actually no, let's do the intelligence brief. So there was a leak. There basically some nerd, some like racist nerd, who I guess like
Racist nerd.
some racist nerd, I guess, who plays like a lot of War Thunder or something. He like posted confidential government files on his Discord server to impress his buddies, and those files got leaked. And it basically just showed like this military briefing where the United States just kind of like the government essentially like says like, yeah, no, Ukraine's not going to win. At best, it'll be a stalemate. And
Well, of course, like how the fuck could it be otherwise?
right,
Fuck
yeah,
it.
but publicly the U.S. government is like, yeah, we can win, we can beat the Russians back, we're gonna give them all this money. But meanwhile, like
That's so absurd.
the internal state is like, yeah, no, that's they're not gonna get the shit back. And there are some other things too. Honestly, like I think there was a much bigger deal about it than like really it deserved. But I just think it's funny, like, because now I think this is like the second time this has happened, where like literally just like some nerd who believes in a race war and is in the military, like accidentally leaks documents because he's trying to impress his buddy. Yeah, I think there was like on a War Thunder forum, this dude, they were talking about like American fighter jets. And they were saying like, oh yeah, the F-15 has like this capabilities and this, that, and the other thing. And then the dude is like, no, that's not how the F-15 works. It fucking, and he just posts documents that like are supposed to be top secret to prove a point to his boys. To prove a point to his boys, just like.
Damn, that sounds like, well,
Wait, this isn't the same one with the fucking what was it like Thug Shake or Rum Shake? How is it? It's either Thug Shakers or Rum Shakers Central. That fucking like he leaks documents on the fucking Discord shit.
Yeah, no, that's the one that did the Ukraine that like leaked the Ukraine files, and like the military strategy. What another thing? Oh yeah, and that reminds me. Another thing is too that there was a deal made between the United States and and fucking the Wagner Group. Um, there was the Wagner Group made a deal with the United States for like basically like a secret deal for money and weapons. And that was exposed just recently. I don't know if it was in that same leak. Hold on, I gotta look.
so what do
back
they
here.
do in return though?
The guy is being criminally charged right now, just like the other one.
No, but what's the Wagner Group supposed to do in return?
Okay, yeah, no, so my bad. It was Wagner Group made a deal with the Ukrainian government, and essentially the deal that they made was like the leader of the Wagner Group basically said, if you let us win the offensive in this position, then we will reveal the locations of national Russian troops elsewhere that you can attack. So basically, what the Wagner Group
Damn.
what the Wagner Group wanted to do,
Have that man shot immediately.
yeah, I
Have him
know.
shot. Like fucking. First of all, Wagner Group, they could just be imposed upon, right? Like, oh my god, oh wow.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is like that's how desperate Putin is that like these files were leaked, right? With this with this fucking this race war nerd about the United States, the CIA finding out Wagner Group approached Ukraine to give them a victory to make the Wagner Group look good, and Putin is just like, I can't do anything because I depend on them. Like that's how fucking weak Russia is.
Well, let's retreat. This also could just be simply itself, right? Disinformation from the United States to get this motherfucker to shoot him, though. You know, it could possibly be that, right?
It could be, but like
It that way. The Russians have said publicly, like, when this shit happened, like, we're just gonna treat this as disinformation.
they
I
did
mean,
say that, yeah.
the source is like, and I quote, a racist nerd, or whatever did you say, like a racist war nerd?
No, so yeah, there was a race war nerd. Yeah, no, I forgot what his name was, but he had this Discord server, like
First
I said.
name race war,
This
last name
person-
nerd.
The individual, he was a air guard in Massachusetts or some shit. Like he was part of the intelligence.
I think he was like in the air like attachment to the National Guard. Maybe Massachusetts. But
Where
he
in Cape Cod or some shit like that, like some crazy shit. Like
Yeah.
like literally, why is there even an intelligence detachment there to begin with?
well, ultimately it was just a briefing, right?
how
And
do-
it was a briefing that he happened to be like in, like probably just
I don't
helping
know.
shit out.
That sounds a little unbelievable. Like, why would some like, I don't know, some National Guard like dude who is like, who knows where, like like why would he need to be? Why would he
Need to be briefed
like?
about.
Yeah, like
No,
I
no,
guess
like they just
I guess the story is that he just like wandered into a briefing he wasn't supposed to be at, but like it still sounds like a little too convenient.
no,
Like,
no.
why the fuck would they?
I imagine he was supposed to be there, but he was just there to like help set up the fucking like the fucking projector and shit, like he was just there to like as just like as like a technician.
He had access to a whole bunch of documents, and he threw them up on his game. But this is the story, at least. He threw it on his Discord server that was about like, I don't know, playing fucking Counter-Strike or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I
I think it was like the same person like who had like that one that famous like the chimp video from fucking from Infrared and shit, the animated one with the Mongolians,
yeah.
the Wow Mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely see how this is a like disinformation campaign. I definitely see that, but at the same time, like, yeah, it seems improbable, but like I feel like the very fact that the story is so improbable makes it more believable, Because if they really wanted to like have a disinformation campaign, wouldn't you think that like they would come up with a much more like obvious story, like oh yeah, like that makes complete sense how he was able to do that.
Say it out loud, like why wouldn't they just like if it's so just if Wagner is giving that type of information to the Ukrainians, I would get the information and I'd be like, hey, look at this asshole, Tell them
Yeah, but
immediately.
maybe Ukraine didn't accept the deal.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't.
Yeah, but then you're ratting him out anyway. What's the difference? Why would you not just rat him out? Why would you not just tell? You know what I'm saying here? Like when Himmler tried to make his own fucking peace deal, right? You knew the Americans immediately told Hitler. They were just like, yeah, you're your boy, It was like, why would you keep that secret?
Well, maybe they did tell him. But you don't know that they didn't.
Maybe they could have told the Russians, although, I mean, I guess
I
why
don't know if
would
they
they
want to make
though?
this public. Like I could see why they wouldn't want to make this public.
The reason I would do so is because Wagner is like being a fucking vanguard for the Russians. I mean, show disunity amongst the fucking ruling elite. I mean, There's a whole bunch of reasons to make this disinformation or to say it out loud to Putin. You know,
But here's
there's
the
no
thing, though.
reason to keep it secret, though. There's no reason to keep this secret.
There is, and this is the reason that I think if they were to make this public, the general public's view of the war would become a much more cynical one. Because if the Ukrainian government is making like these kinds of like cynical deals with a section of the Russian forces, it stops being such an ideological war. The war becomes a much more cynical matter. Even if they don't take the deal, like the fact that there is that kind of dealing, like the way that the United States is projecting like this war is like on purely ideological lines. The Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom, and so the Ukrainians like in the average American's mind, like they can't like in such a situation they can't imagine that like they would even like consider like deals with the enemy forces, you know. And so I think it's better to just keep like this narrative of like, yeah, it's a war of freedom against like a completely unnegotiable threat, you know.
You know about the fucking like the communist mercenary groups that were in the World War II.
Mercenary groups.
Yeah.
Communist mercenary groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
recall
Like,
they're just like, you know, like, listen, you want me to fight this war? You better pay me top dollar. Top dollar.
You know, for the socialist fatherland.
Listen, I'm part of I got a union that says that you're violating my contract. I'm supposed to have 3 breaks a day as I'm fighting. I don't care what's happening around me. I'm taking.
I'll take in my fucking break, pal.
Oh, buddy, you make me.
Oh.
I don't care who's coming across the trench. It's coffee time.
just like the little cups, the lattes and shit.
Oh, I don't
It's like
care.
they're all in white beaters and shit.
Well, the Germans, they're bombing right now. Fuck that.
Fuck that.
I'm gonna go get myself a chopped cheese sandwich. I'll see you guys later.
I'm gonna get some fucking bolognese. You know, I want some.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably how the war was fought by the Spanish anarchists and
Yeah, it's just like
yeah, it's like,
Oh.
okay, it's 4 o'clock. I'm clocking out.
yeah.
I'm going home. Like, I mean,
somebody else better hold this line because I got shit to do. You know, I gotta.
yeah,
take
literally, they literally would do that. The people would just like leave their post and go home.
I gotta take a personal day. You know, this is a little bit too stressful. I'm doing too much emotional labor over here. I'm gonna take a personal day. Yeah, no, they would do that. That's from what I understand.
We also have Mike, who is a labor organizer from South Korea, who will be talking about some of the recent happenings in South Korea.
Mike Cannon.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted me to use your last name, but I guess yeah, Mike Cannon. I can always cut it out later. But yeah,
it's okay. I'm a public member. It's all right.
All right.
My full name is totally fine. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Mike Cannon. Thank you for coming on. So the first thing that we should talk about is Al Pacino. Al Pacino's got a kid at the ripe age of 82 years old with a 29-year-old woman.
You just have when you have enough money, right, and you're an Italian man, it's just like De Niro, Al Pacino. You know, you just keep on going. You just keep on pumping them out. You know?
I feel like he really was just trying to one up De Niro though, in that scenario. You know, like.
Well, he did it better because he's older than De Niro. So
that's what I'm saying. Is De Niro had his kid at 79 with his wife, who I think was 45, and so Al Pacino was like, "Well, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna I'm gonna get a kid at 82 with a 29-year-old."
Yeah, hold my fucking beer.
It is kind of funny that like sort of Leonardo DiCaprio gets like shit for all that for like dating 20-year-olds, and it's just like we just been like kind of sleeping on the all stars of our film of films just doing it continually until they're not. Like Al Pacino looks like a literal
kid with this 16-year-old.
So you know, I've talked to because you know there are a significant percentage of women who are attracted to older men who have established careers and wealth, etc. And
That's right.
they can
right.
get quite offended.
That's right.
Well, they can get quite offended if you talk to them as if they're some sort of abused child.
No,
And it's
Well,
like,
look, this isn't
I'm not
about.
talking about him being abused child. I'm more just the sort of disgustingness. The dude looks like he's fucking that gremlin from Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, that's the
I agree
thing.
with that.
I don't care how
I agree with that.
suave he fucking is or was. You know what I mean? It's just like
Well, also, this
a
child he's
withered old
having.
man.
Look,
Dobie. Yeah.
best case scenario, Al Pacino lives to be like roughly 100. That's like.
I don't think he's
mean,
gonna see this kid hit double digits, to be honest. Now, and like just to say, like I have nothing against.
Right.
I've got nothing against these women. You know, this is
Al Pacino, in fact, actually, in my opinion, he does the Bronx right. So I hope to be an 85-year-old man sleeping with 20-year-old Arab women. Yeah,
I have no ill will towards these women, as you said. Like they're adults, they have every right.
Al Pacino is just he's a disgusting little gremlin.
Yeah, they've got every right to have a kid with 80-plus-year-old men. That's fully their right. That's not an issue. But ultimately, this is more coming at like Al Pacino more than anything, because it's like, look,
why you come at him? Why wouldn't you do it yourself?
Because this kid, bro, this kid is gonna be so fucking confused. Al Pacino's old enough to be this kid's fucking great grandfather. He's old enough to be his great grandfather, exactly. And like this kid's not gonna have his father in his life, like in his teenage years, bro. He's gonna lose his father in his teenage years. It's like, man, that's just irresponsible, bro.
So what?
That kid is gonna be fucked up, man.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that entirely. I mean, I don't know about you. I know Freddie, but I don't know the rest of you guys. I have a stepson, and he's great. He's fantastic. But yeah, I can't imagine being 82 years old and like fathering a child and knowing that like I will probably likely be dead within the next
10
2
years.
or 3 years, potentially.
Yeah.
Like definitely 10 years. That's a hard limit.
Yeah, pretty definitively within the
Because,
next 10 years.
So I mean, he's basically leaving this his partner with. She's going to be a single mother very
She's
soon.
gonna have a lot of money. What's the difference?
Well, she's gonna be like, she's gonna be well taken care of, but like, I'm more talking about the psychology of the child more than anything.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Be. He's like, I want to be fucking
yeah,
all my wealth. I don't want to get this bitch a dime.
No, yeah, I agree with exactly what Freddie just said. Like, obviously, yes, Al Pacino, of course, his wife when he dies is going to be well taken care of, but that the psychology of you need both of your parents there.
He's gonna be
ideally
a rich shit no matter what.
Yeah,
but I mean, the kid is going to be fucked up if Al Pacino dies in 2 years because he's 80-something years old and he just has a heart attack, which is what happens when you're 80-something years old.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just gross. Like, it really, like, it's just gross. It's just gross because it's like it's not like it's irresponsible towards the child. Like that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree. But I do want to insist.
Freddie only disagrees because he wants to do the same.
Yeah.
He wants to bang some 20-year-old.
I think
I agree with what you're saying, but I will insist. On 29 years old. You're a fully developed adult. So she voluntarily chose to enter into a relationship with 80-year-old Al Pacino.
Agreed.
That's her choice.
That is her choice.
He's not a Me Too situation. He's not exploiting her. She just fell in love with him because Al Pacino's a cool guy. He does look like a goblin, but you look at his history and his career. I can see why a young woman would. I've known several women who have dated much older men than them, and I don't really get it. But also, my wife, for example, I'm 34 years old. My wife is like 40, 41. So we have a almost 10-year age gap. We just don't think about it. It's not an issue. So
yeah, but I mean that's 10 years. I mean that's a little like that's not comparable. But look, you can make a case about.
Well, yeah,
you can
right.
50
years is a bit different. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can make a case about like power dynamics in this situation where I was like, yeah, no. I mean, obviously Al Pacino's a very powerful person, and so you can make some kind of case for exploitation here. That said, I don't really think it's worth going down that track because again, this is an adult woman who's making her own choices, and it's like as much as like there may be power dynamics in play by simple virtue of fame and money, it's ultimately like it is their right, but it's just fucking like irresponsible in my opinion.
Listen, I'm not going to be talking on behalf of women, and honestly, I don't care. Like none of these people none of these individuals I give a shit about. I don't even give a shit about the kid. The kid's gonna grow up to be a rich piece of shit regardless, right?
Yeah,
And
probably.
if I was a rich piece of shit, I would love. I don't care when he dies. I would love to say my father was Al Pacino because
Yeah,
that's
no,
like,
that's
you
like
know what I mean?
insane.
Like
It's
this
like,
is
yo,
a
my
king.
fucking dad's Al
He's a
Pacino. He's the
fucking
fucking
king, bro. Like, let's just let
He's,
this
he,
guy's
he's
not
an incredible actor, no doubt about that. No one's arguing about that.
I like play
For-
me, play him as world, play that kid when he was born, the world's smallest violin, because there is no issues in his life that are not going to be of his own in reality. And then like in terms of this woman, like, I just, you know, like if I was a 20, you know, I wouldn't want to fuck an 80-year-old. I just don't understand how a 29-year-old want to. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, no, there definitely are women out there who are into like much older guys. Like I know women who've like dated like fucking elderly men, and you know they're actually into it. You know, I guess there's like some like matter of like sophistication or like experience, wisdom, whatever. I mean, like you know, it's not completely irrational.
Yeah,
but
it's not about the money. Okay.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Well,
whoa,
obviously
whoa,
the
whoa,
money,
whoa.
the money is it could be a big factor, but it's also like
I want to see a woman date an 80-year-old man that's this, and then we'll talk about love.
yeah, well, that is, I mean, yeah, that is true. I mean, like that we do have to like take into account that typically, like the women that are dating these old men, the old men always happen to be rich as fuck. That said, like I don't want to like
Or
just
young
straight
men
up
dating
call
older
this.
women, or young.
Well,
men
wait.
dating old
Can I
men.
interject here, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, the reality is, the vast majority of heterosexual women like a man who has charisma, leadership role, has wealth, or works hard. You know, I find this with my wife. I'm not wealthy, but I do work hard, and I do a lot of like stuff. And my wife finds that incredibly sexy. So heterosexual women find that incredibly sexy. So I'm not surprised that a 29-year-old woman would want to date Al Pacino. I mean, the thing that I am a little confused about is it's one thing to date Al Pacino and just like, you know, fuck this rock star, fantastic actor, great person in the film
Icon
industry.
of a generation.
But yeah, of course. But marrying him and having a child with him,
Secure that bag, baby.
I do think maybe there's
That's
a
right.
thing, 'cause she has to know. She must know that. Look, she's a very young woman and she has a child, and her husband is, and the father of her child is 80. What is he? 81? He's over 80. I think,
83.
now, right?
82 or 83, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look, perfect world, he's gonna maybe hit 100, but you know, it's gonna be a dice roll if he is able to see his child's like high school graduation, right?
Yeah, then
So-
that's very
Yeah,
much
I
outside of the
don't-
realm of
I don't know.
possibility.
Yeah, I don't understand that psychology there. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
well,
Secure that
You know,
bag, baby.
Look, it's not. Let's move on to other topics.
yeah, we've
because,
spent a
look,
lot of
it's not
time
our-
on this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want
Like
I was-
nobody really gives a fuck about.
Yeah,
that.
no one really cares.
I want- I wanted to
They're,
start.
they're clearly in love. They made a child together. Let's leave them alone. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
their
I mean,
business.
I was just about to change topics anyway, but I wanted to start with something just kind of casual and silly. Now
Of
let's
course.
let's move into
Was that casual enough?
let's move into the debt ceiling negotiations. Now, Mike, I don't know how much you know about what was going on with the debt ceiling in the U.S. If you've heard much about it, but essentially, you know, once again, I mean, this happened again. You know, this happened not too long ago, but the Republicans they control Congress, and they held the economy hostage by basically saying we're not gonna
Did
pass
they
it.
know?
Excuse me.
Well, I'm about to get into that if you let me finish. You know, they're basically saying, well, if we're not going to vote for a debt ceiling increase if we don't get big cuts and also increase military spending. Now, look, the pro-Democrat media has really like fucking muddied the waters on this issue. But like also like, you know, Majority Report and like other, you know, left-leaning liberal sources have pointed out the obvious. Biden, there's really absolutely no reason for there to have been negotiations at all. Because under the 14th Amendment, the United States is obligated to pay its debts no matter what. And that was a policy that came after the Civil War, to basically, tell the ex-Confederate states, look, you're going to be taken care of. But again, Biden has the constitutional right to say, no, fuck the debt ceiling. We're going to keep paying. We don't have to default under the Constitution. And as a matter of fact, the Constitution prevents us from defaulting. But no, so this is essentially, this reveals where the Democratic Party's interests truly lie. I mean, obviously, we've known for a long time, but this just makes it so fucking crystal clear that it's unbelievable.
Like before.
Right. It's like the Democrats want to present themselves as, oh, we're a moderate party. We are the negotiators. We're going to work with the Republicans. No reason to do that. Well, no, there is a reason to do that. And the reason to do that is to serve private interests. Right. But outwardly, that's not immediately obvious to the broader population. So, what did we get from the debt ceiling negotiations? Well, we got pretty much nothing changed. Besides, workers are getting fucked harder now, right? They instituted the work requirements for SNAP, which the majority of SNAP recipients are already full-time employees as it is. And so really all the work requirements really is just a bureaucratic holdup for people to get their services. And then we saw minor cuts here and there on, discretionary spending, as well as $100 billion increase in the military budget, $300 billion more, which now sits at $300 billion more than it was in 2018. 2018, it was $600 billion. Now it's $900 billion. We have a near $1 trillion spending limit on the military. Look, they want to fucking go to war with China. This is like every single decision that has been made by this government in the past 5 years has pointed towards, and maybe you can make an argument for even longer, it's pointing towards starting a war with China. So really there's two takeaways from the situation. The first is, the Democrats, they continue to suck the cocks of the billionaires. And Biden is by no means a progressive president, as much as the bullshit Democrat media wants to say he is. There's nothing good coming out of this administration. And they let motherfuckers like Matt Walsh, is that his name? Matt he's a congressman, and he was essentially the guy that came out and said, we are taking the economy hostage. And mind you, just a couple of years ago, this guy was investigated for human trafficking.
Okay.
So they're allowing this guy to be the. Sorry,
Matt
go ahead. Matt Gaetz, yes, Matt Gaetz, yes. So the Democrats allow this fucking sex trafficking buffoon, be the face of the negotiations holdup. And so in essence, it's all just so fucking corrupt and so absolutely dreadful. Everything about what happened with the debt ceiling.
That amount of money could have helped refinance public works projects in terms of public housing.
Freddie, you cut out. What did you give money to? Who?
Ukraine.
Oh, to Ukraine. Okay, yeah.
So that amount of money has already been given out, parceled out to Ukraine. The Democrats could have used that money to probably conduct new public works projects in relationship to public housing. And they don't do that because they've allowed, actually during the Clinton era, they allowed the public housing to be set up for failure, right? They never changed those laws. So the idea that there's real the only social spending that is really going to be ever conducted by the Democrats is the spending that gives money to a private contractor to do public work sometimes. And then
even in that situation, it always turns into a gentrification of an area, of a part of the city, of a part of a town that actually is a detriment to those citizens of that town or city.
It's a bribe kickback to contractors that pay them out, that give them money, and to unions that are hey, what we need?
We need more fucking contracts.
We need more. Yeah, we need to get us to work.
Yeah.
Give us the fucking work.
We gotta work. I mean, that's fine, but it's why are we building more fucking shit for nothing, nowhere, when we could just be already building housing and shit like that? It's always some fucking crazy logic. And it's just a
I always talk about this
broken,
shit like.
Yeah, it's a fundamentally broken system. Like I don't put any more stock into these like, oh, like we're going to deal with the debt ceiling. It's like America's never going to default. Who's going to default to exactly? I don't even understand. Right? To what?
Yeah, right. I
So,
mean,
yeah.
look, it is. I mean, like, and let alone the Ukraine spending. I mean, the $100 billion fucking raise of the military budget would be able to provide extensive public housing, public, free college, universal public health care. And easily would be able to cover all those things. Probably even public daycare too. With $100 billion.
But I mean, just
they calculated that $100 billion.
Like right up in like terms of just funding the California high-speed rail shit. It would have all been drowned.
I mean, $100 billion would be able to cover all those things. They did the math. They calculated that like years ago. $100 billion would be more than enough to fund all those things.
Regardless, we're all in agreement. Like whatever the breaking down of the numbers. Like, I mean, look, it's like the Pentagon failed its 15th audit in a row or some shit like that.
Yeah,
like 1,000 audit. Like we just don't even know how much to give to it anymore.
Yeah,
it's like it's astounding, but it's just like it services nothing.
Right. I mean, yes, the debt ceiling, in essence, the debt ceiling negotiations is just a heightening of austerity. It's literally just a heightening of austerity. It's just the next, just the next level of extraction. And
so why should we?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Ultimately, it's just it's just a waste of everybody's time. And yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing it up.
Well, I mean. Freddie, like, honestly, like...
I'm joking. Come on.
All right.
I'm being a little sensitive right now.
This is why I moved to South Korea.
Well, but like, South Korea's got mad austerity too, though.
Of course we do, but, I'll give you an example. So last summer, 2022, my wife, my son, and I visited, my mother and my father in Tennessee, where I'm from.
Yeehaw.
And... I get texts from friends sometimes who are just like, hey, when are you moving back to the United States? And I'm like, I'm not going to. And they're like, why?
Hey guys, the rest of this episode, including Mike Cannon's interview, will be released separately, and it will be posted shortly. Thank you all for listening.